We're gonna do yet another racing game, because why the hell not? That's what I've been playing, so that's what I'm reviewing. Don't like it? Wait a week or two, because I'll probably get to something else. But until then, you'll just have to suck it up. The racing game I decided to check out this week is 4x4 Evo, an early blue disc game on PS2. I remember my friend Jers buying it for a few bucks at GameStop a long while ago, and I recently came across and picked it up myself, because I remember borrowing it once and enjoying it a bit. But man, playing it nowadays, you get to learn that it's a bit rough around the edges. 4x4 Evo has no plot, just a few modes to choose from. Obviously you get time trial modes and multiplayer options, but the main meat of the game comes in the career mode. In this, you get 30 grand to buy and tune up an off-road monstrosity, and need to clear every event in order to declare the game as complete. Here's the odd thing though, there's no difference whether you finish the event in first or last. Sure, your winnings are minimized if you drag your ass across the line 5 minutes after everyone else, which may happen, but as long as you finish all of the races in that event, it's considered complete. So in theory, you could literally get in last place on all events and still finish the career mode. Probably wouldn't be as fun in my eyes, but the idea is there. As for the vehicles you get to drive, there's a decent selection from many manufacturers. Personally, I don't know jack about cars, or in this case, trucks and SUVs, so I just picked a Ford, since I have a Fusion myself. I then spent the rest of my cash trying to give it a bit more acceleration and speed. Thankfully, you can hold, I think it was R2 in order to speed up the text scroll, so you can get to the end where it tells you what each upgrade does. Of course, the game doesn't tell you in layman's terms, like speed, acceleration, etc. Instead, the game tells you about engine torque, body weight, and stuff like that. Eventually, I figured out the torque increase was good, as was weight decreases, but come on man, help me out here. So once you pick out what you want to drive and tweak it if you still have the funds, you get to choose an event. There's two sets of events, the regular ones and special events. Special events are often required to complete as a prerequisite to the main ones, even though you'd think it would be the other way around. Either way, most events are locked away until you play through other circuits, upgrade your vehicle a certain way, or just plain pick a different truck. Each set of races gives you an increasing prize purse, but here's the catch. You never win the purse at face value. Instead, you'll just win a percentage of it, depending on what place you finish in. I would have personally preferred the game, but just telling me what I'd win in what place, but that's me. So I will point out that normally when I'm playing a racing game, I do like first person view. However, if I'm recording it, I like doing third person so you can get a look at the entire game, including the car. However, 4x4 Evo is just much easier to play in first person. I feel like keeping it in third person makes the game much more challenging, and believe me when I say that you don't need any more additional difficulty, as there's enough of that to be included in the core package. At first, you'd think that the game is just being hard because you're underpowered compared to the opposing racers, and you'd be right in that. But even as you upgrade your preferred machine, you'll find that there's a few flaws that drag the experience down. First off, the game functions as a checkpoint-style racing game, and since there's no out-of-bounds areas, the game allows you to treat roads as simple recommended paths. There are shortcuts that can be driven on to shave off precious seconds, which you'll probably notice that the enemy AI takes immediately from the start. As long as you go through those checkpoint poles, you're in good shape. You cannot miss one, as the game will not allow you to pass through the point if you don't hit the last one. But here's possibly one of the biggest problems of the game. If you get to a spot that is difficult to drive out of, or just need to reset your vehicle, you won't respawn back on the road nearest to the part where you got disabled. Instead, you are sent back to the last achieved checkpoint. In short, if you need to manually reset your truck anywhere beyond a checkpoint, you're screwed. Any lead you may have procured from that point is effectively gone. To further compound that issue, the AI is just plain unforgiving. To start, there is no rubber banding mechanic to help you out. If the enemy is in the lead, you'll just need to drive better and faster to get ahead. Secondly, it feels like the AI is driving on rails. They know all of the best shortcuts, and will take them even if you don't know them. In addition, if you're in their way, instead of driving around you, they're just going to ram you. And if you're trying to ram into them, good luck, as they just do not budge. This comes to point number 3. Hit detection is pretty shoddy. You'll hit them, and it feels like you still have a little bit of space in between you and them. Plus, if you attempt to smash them off the track, it just never feels like you have enough weight to effectively push them away. It seems like the only time you can effectively be safe is if you somehow manage to slam the enemy drivers into an obstacle to get them stuck, whether it be a checkpoint pole or a train, of which, if you get stuck behind it, you simply cannot get around and must wait for it to pass. Yeah. Now I'm pretty sure that if an opposing driver needs to reset, they just pop right back up on the track. All of this culminates into the fact that there's just no room for error. Misjudge a ramp and go over it with too much speed? Too bad, either drive back on the road or reset and lose a good chunk of time. Driving along one of those bridges on the oil pump map and fall off? Time to make that difficult choice. Same if you're driving on the highway construction map and God forbid you didn't realize that the checkpoint is on the right side of the map, and you drive on the left side where there's a concrete barrier preventing you from effectively driving to where you need to be. It basically goes without saying that until you memorize the racetrack inside and out, you will be losing every race. Even when you do know the map, it's still incredibly difficult to finish anywhere close to first. You know, all this crap I'm talking about doesn't mean that there's not some cool parts to the game. As I said before, there's a decent selection of vehicles that you can drive. The tracks are fairly varied and look okay for the time period that the game was created in. Most maps have some sort of gimmick, such as I think it was called Country Road, where there's a train going right through the few parts of the track, and the Truck Stop 101 map containing oncoming traffic, which hilariously drags you along endlessly if you manage to hit them head on. There's also a map I first saw in an old Windows 95 game called Munch Truck Madness. I recognized it immediately and remember it being a decent map, but I feel this version's much blander. Maybe the technology? I don't know. The music is also okay, although it's not as good as other racing games that you'll play. But again, for an early era PS2 game, you can't really expect late life stuff. Okay, you can, but it wouldn't be right. 4x4 Evo isn't a horrible game, but the more you play it, the more it just feels unfair. That's not to say there's not any fun in it, though. If you take it as a horribly difficult racing game, it may be somewhat enjoyable in small spans. Either way, you can get it for $1 or $2 nowadays, so it's worth checking out if you're a fan of off-road style racing games. Final score? 6 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.